In early 2025, our Sunrise Rotary Chapter invited Allan Dupuis, a psychiatric nurse, to speak before our chapter on how mental health has evolved. And he also discussed the Seafarers ministry sponsored by local churches and organizations, including our local St. Benedict's Episcopal Church. Many of those working on the cargo and passenger ships have need for companionship, counseling, and other services and assistance. And this would be a great project for other Rotary chapters.
One of the organizations that I'm personally involved with that also serves a vulnerable population. We in South Florida have very little idea of what goes on in Port Everglades. We see it. You see the signs, Port Everglades. Take this exit. If you don't go to the airport, you go to the port. But we do not, I think, have a good appreciation for what goes on in that port. The livelihood of South Florida is dependent on that port because of all the goods that come into the country through that port that then are used to provide the exceptional service that our service industry does. But in doing so, on any given day, we have a population of 45,000 people in the port working. Many of these are on cargo ships that are coming into and out of our port, and they're working like mad people. They are on a strict schedule. These ships come in, they have a time in the port, the cranes come in, they offload the things. 4 hours later, they're reloading the other ones, they fuel back up, boop, boop, and they go to the next port. These people are unbelievably vulnerable. The people that work on these cargo ships are signing up for 3 to 6 months tours. No, they don't see their families. Thankfully, with the internet and with organizations that are there to meet their needs, they're able to communicate with them. But when they're in the port of Fort Lauderdale, they sometimes can't even get off the ship because they don't have the right documentation. If they do have the right documentation, they can come off and be within the port itself. There is an organization called Seafarer's House that operates in Port Everglades. It's a multi-faith ministry that I'm thrilled to be involved with. And we go and do visits to the ships, to the people that are working on the ships, and we spend time in fellowship. We have time to sit one-on-one and talk, and even with the language barrier, thank God for those translating devices, we bring them treats. It's a wonderful way, and again, a highly, highly vulnerable population. Because if you could imagine being away from your children, your spouse, for 3 to 6 months at a time. The cargo ships are not like the cruise ships that we go on, folks. And those workers on the cruise ships, they're in and out, and they get very little time for themselves. So Seafarers House is a wonderful organization, and at some point in time, if you'd like to get better connected with them, I would be more than happy to facilitate that. My other big organization that I'm involved with now that I'm a retiree, my home for worship, St. Benedict's Episcopal Church in Plantation, is an amazing community of spirituality. It is Christian-based, following the Anglican tradition, but it is very, very welcoming. I've been an active member there for going on 7 years. I'm very, very grateful. They are amazingly supportive of Seafarer House, of NAMI, of Alzheimer's Association. They will be hosting your October seminar. So again, my thanks to you for all of the phenomenal work that you are doing in the community.
For Seafarers, what sort of things do you do?
I'm the chair of the missions team at St. Benedict's, and we're doing a phenomenal amount of mission work, local, national, and international. And part of our mission team is we have adopted a ship. So there's a ship called the Voyager that comes into Port Everglades every week. They were in port today, and they're dropping off all the cargo that they picked up, I believe, somewhere in the South Caribbean. So they offload all that cargo. Once it's offloaded, the cranes kind of shift directions and they reload with either empty containers that are going back to be filled or stuff that's coming from here to go to this port in South America. And they leave port on late Thursday, and they traverse, and they unload there, and they reload, and then they make the 3-day trek. So that's all they're doing, week after week. Once a month, we do a visit. So a group of us from church, we get together, and we go down, and we bring all kinds of cookies and chips and pastries and stuff like that. And we put on our hard hats and our safety vests, and we're driven out to the ship. And we spend about an hour in their mess room, which is a little cramped, like, dining hall. And they come, and we chat, and we pray. Christmas was really moving. There was 13 men on the ship. And we asked them all what they would like for Christmas, either for themselves or for their novia, their partner that they could send home, or for their kid. And through the work of the church, we were able to provide them with a Christmas gift. They all wanted watches. So we got them all a watch. We then collected enough funds to go and get special food so that they could have a Christmas Eve meal and a Christmas Day meal. Mm-hmm. And that included wine and spirits. We did the same thing for New Year's. New Year's Eve, they had a special. We brought down a carload of grocery bags with, ham and this and that. And they have a cook, but the cook was like, oh my God, this is, real good food. So for New Year's Eve, and we also, when we had started back in November, we said, oh, what do you guys want for Christmas? And it was so heartwarming. They said, we would love some decorations for our ship. And I was like, you don't have any decorations? No. So we brought and again, how many of us have attics filled with Christmas stuff that we don't use? So we brought 2 carloads of Christmas stuff. A small pencil tree so they could put it in that small area, lights and decorations, and they were absolutely thrilled. We recognize their birthdays, so we do a birthday card. At various times we'll set up a WhatsApp so that if they need, group prayer and that, we can, chime in and do group prayer. So it's very, very meaningful, and it's such a gift to be able to go and provide a welcoming hand. And again, some of these guys are dealing with issues of depression and sadness and addiction. There was one ship, again, not our adopted ship, but there was another ship that was in port in the fall of last year where there was a significant outbreak of addiction. The crew just suddenly all started drinking. And the Seafarer's ministry was very active in getting the right people in there to help quell it, because these guys would have lost their job. It's amazing, again, the number of grassroots organizations that are picking up the slack and helping out. But I just love Seafarers.
And our Sunrise Rotary YouTube channel has many reflections and talks about mental health issues, including my personal story of why I became involved in dementia awareness based on my experience as a condo treasurer who stopped the foreclosure of someone who had advanced dementia. We also reviewed many articles on how police departments have sponsored CIT training for the police on mental health issues, and a review of videos and materials on the Miami Police Department website, which is a leader in this endeavor. And we reflect on Travelers to Unimaginable Lands, a collection of case studies on how dementia affects both caretakers and their loved ones who have dementia. And we also reflect on 2 excellent guides, Listening to Speak Alzheimer's in particular, and the Dementia Caretaker's Guide. Rita Hayworth's daughter was one of the original celebrity fundraisers and a long-standing member of the Alzheimer's Association. Rita Hayworth's story, and also the story of how Tony Bennett and Lady Gaga sponsored a last duet concert when he had advanced Alzheimer's, are both touching tales. And Glenn Campbell's widow has an excellent biography covering from before he was diagnosed through his struggles with various stages of the disease and finally leading to his death. And we show how the Alzheimer's 10 warning signs correspond with his life experiences. And this is one of the best case studies of somebody with Alzheimer's. Although this is not a book about dementia, Oliver Sacks' case studies, including The Man Who Mistook His Wife for a Hat, is the classic and often cited collection of case studies of patients suffering from both puzzling and fascinating neurological conditions, some of which may be dementia. And also the curious story of Phineas Gage, the most famous schmuck in history. And Parkinson's disease is also a neurological disease, but one that affects the motor functions, although secondarily it can attack cognition as well, and is similar to Lewy body dementia. And of course, Michael J. Fox is the most famous sufferer of Parkinson's. Now, among the speakers we've had to our Rotary chapter, I'd say the most important is Bob Anthony, who speaks on a program sponsored by the Boston's Children's Hospital to better serve pediatric patients who are suffering from mental health issues such as ADHD, addiction, bullying, etc. And the Sunrise Police Department works with Rotary in educating the public about mental health issues. We recently invited Chief Ransone to speak before our chapter on how police address mental health issues. And we previously invited Tamara Dawes, who works in the community outreach programs of the Sunrise Police Department, to speak on both homelessness and sex trafficking. And her associate Nadine spoke of her traumatic personal experience with trafficking and how difficult it can be to leave that very damaging life. And this is but a sampling of our speakers. If you are in Sunrise, Florida, please visit our club. You can find the meeting times on our club website. I have a video on the history of Rotary and my personal goals in joining Rotary. What is Rotary? We have a short video that we downloaded from the Rotary International website that explains the many goals of Rotary International.